Welcome to Kisses That Change the World, where love isn't just a feeling, it's a revolution. Where a kiss isn't just a touch, it's a turning point. Because some kisses aren't kissed on the lips, they're written in time. Kisses that change the world. 20 kisses, 20 moments, 20 unforgettable stories. In a world where time accelerates and emotions are forgotten behind the doors of routine, there are indelible moments. Moments that don't need words. They don't need heroism. They don't need wars. They just need two lips meeting. These are not just kisses. These are moments that changed the fate of humanity. From a burning Arabian desert to the infinite space between two robots. From a kiss of betrayal that transformed a religion to a sister's kiss that saved her sister from freezing death. A kiss in Times Square ended a war. A kiss in the rain in the Notebook brought back a lost memory. A ghostly kiss in a dark room taught the world that love doesn't die with the body. And these are not all kisses, but they are the few that were not forgiven. They were not forgotten, and not a page was turned over. It is considered one of the most famous kisses throughout history. It happened immediately after the announcement of the cessation of World War II. Until now, it is celebrated annually, either by wearing sailor and nurse clothing, or by every couple or every two lovers kissing each other. Taken on August 14, 1945, in New York City, after the end of World War II. Sailor George Mendonza served in the U.S. Navy. Nurse Judith Bailey. She didn't know him, but he kissed her in joy at the victory. The first kiss, and it is considered one of the most famous kisses in the world, is the Times Square kiss. August 14, 1945. New York. World War II has just ended. A 22-year-old American sailor named George Mendios is walking in Times Square. Suddenly, he sees a nurse he doesn't know, named Greta Zimmer Friedman. Without a word, he grabs her, leans her back, and kisses her. Photographer Alfred Eisenstadt captured the moment, and it became the most famous kiss in American history. The irony? They didn't meet again until 35 years later, on a television show. When Greta was asked, "Were you angry?" she said, "No, I knew he was kissing life, not just a strange woman." Jack and Rose Titanic movie, 1997. A kiss on the brink of sinking, but it reached eternity. The Titanic actually sank in 1912. The romantic story is fictional, based on a screenplay by James Cameron. Some of the characters in the film are real, like Captain Smith. On April 14, 1912, the Titanic was not just a ship, it was a legend, a steel dream cutting through the ocean. But in one night it became a graveyard, and the stage for the greatest love story in history. But before the sinking, before the screams, before the deadly ice, there was a kiss, not just a kiss, but a scream of life.
I am the king of the world. It wasn't a sentence, but a kiss of freedom. Jack, the poor young man who owned nothing, gave Rose, the enchanted girl in a golden cage, something neither ships nor the rich could afford.
The Titanic, Kiss, taught us that love is not measured by time, but by depth. The Titanic, Kiss, not a goodbye kiss, but a promise to stay. An upside-down kiss, but it rearranged love. For the first time, a superhero kissed a girl, while masked, upside down. Why was it controversial? Some considered it immoral because it showed the hero hiding his identity. But it proved that love isn't measured by position. In a world searching for heroes, strength wasn't in muscles, nor in the ability to fly, but in the courage of a kiss in the rain. And in a New York alley under the rain of an unforgettable night, the impossible happened. The hero kissed the girl, hiding his face. This wasn't an ordinary kiss. It was a declaration of rebellion, against fear, against duty, against the idea that love should be postponed. And when the world was turned upside down, the kiss remained supreme in the sky and in hearts. No one cared that it was an upside-down kiss, because the heart doesn't know up from down, if love is a compass. This kiss changed everything. It became an icon. It was imitated in hundreds of films. It was described as the most beautiful kiss in superhero history. One kiss. It made the whole world stop. Not from fear, but from amazement. One of the greatest movies in cinematic history. Why was it controversial? Because it showed a romantic relationship between two characters who were class mismatched. It was described as a kiss full of control, lust, and rebellion. In 1939, cinema wasn't just a film. It was a legend being written on the screen. In the heart of war, amid the rubble of civilization, a kiss occurred. It wasn't the first, nor the last, but it was the longest. This kiss wasn't in a room. It was in the heart of a collapsing era, in the mind of a woman who didn't understand her own heart, and in the hand of a man who held her as if he carried the hope of the world. The rules weren't broken. It was the new rule. A first kiss doesn't end with a smile, but with an endless struggle. And when she finally said, "I don't care," the whole world knew that she cared. And that kiss was not the end. It was the true beginning. The movie is My Fair Lady, year of release, 1964, director George Cukor, based on the play Pygmalion by British writer George Bernard Shaw, 1913. It began as a play written by Shaw. Shaw wanted to leave the relationship ambiguous, but audiences wondered, do they love each other? It was then turned into a musical in 1964. Here the director added a kiss in the final scene, or before, to please the audience and give the ending an emotional touch. In London. In 1912, it wasn't language that divided classes, it was tone. One word spoken in a street accent, and you were thrown back to the gutter. One word spoken in a gentry accent, and you were elevated to the palace. Then came Eliza Doolittle. Not a princess, not educated, but she dreamed. She dreamed of selling flowers in a fashionable shop, not of shouting in the street. A man who didn't believe in love, but in grammar, pronunciation, and science. He considered it an experiment, a project. From street girl to lady. It's possible, he said. Months of training, from shouting to elegance, from the street to the royal hall. She succeeded. She became a princess without losing her soul. But at the moment of success, he asked himself, I trained her voice, but who trained my heart? Then came the kiss. It wasn't at a party, not in the rain, but in a speech lab, where everything was about sound, and now everything is about silence. One kiss. It canceled all the rules. One kiss. It proved that the heart doesn't teach, that it doesn't care about pronunciation. This kiss didn't just change the tone of her voice. It changed the tone of the story. From a scientific experiment to undeniable love. It didn't matter whether she remained a princess or returned to the streets. What mattered was that she found someone who loved her, just the way she was. The Kiss After Forgetting, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, 2004. The film revolves around a fictional company called Lacuna Incorporation. It offers a service, erasing painful love memories from the brain. Jack and Sally were lovers, but their relationship was shattered by pain and betrayal. They each decided to erase the other from their memories. But during the erasure process, Jack discovers that erasing love doesn't mean erasing the heart. Memories begin to crumble, but love resists, even as it is erased. It insists on hiding Sally in the deepest corners of its soul. In a world where memories can be erased, love wasn't just a feeling, it was a rebellion. Sally, Jack, they met, fell in love, fought, then decided to forget each other. Suddenly, Sally signs a paper saying, I want to erase Jack's memories. Jack erased Sally. Sally erased Jack. Every memory, every kiss, every I love you was erased. Sally and Jack meet again, as strangers. But there is something familiar. In a moment, time stopped. He looked at her, as if something inside him refused to forget. One kiss. It wasn't based on a memory, but on an inexplicable feeling, a heart that loves again, even though the brain doesn't remember. This kiss wasn't forbidden by the police, or class laws, or war. It was an attempt to forget, and yet, it returned. Jack writes on a piece of paper, if I forget, let's love again. Because true love is not stored in the memory, it is stored in the soul. Maratha is the daughter of the goddess Artemis, raised on an island outside of time called Themyscira, where the Amazons live far from humans and their wars. When pilot Steve Trevor arrives and tells her about World War I, she decides to descend into the human world, not just to fight evil, but to find the truth and learn, are humans worth saving? In a world where men fight each other, a woman appeared, fighting not for victory, but for truth. She wasn't from our world. But she chose to come down. From the Amazon into the midst of the Great War. There she met Steve Trevor, not a great hero, but an honest man who believed that good was still possible. It wasn't a kiss of escape, but rather an announcement of entry. Her entry into the world, into love, and into war. This kiss didn't stop the bullets, but it taught the world something. A heroine doesn't love after the battle, but loves before she fights. Because love is not weakness. It's the only reason to fight. A kiss that wasn't between two lovers, but between a child and a broken man. The movie release year, 2009. Production, Pixar, Disney director Peter Duke Matt. The film tells the story of Carl Friedman, an old man who lost his beloved wife Elaine and decides to fulfill a youthful promise to fly his house to Paradise Falls Mountain in South America, the place Elaine had dreamed of. In a world where adults rush by, there is one child who sees things slowly. He doesn't see balloons, friends, but rather flying. He doesn't see an old man slying, but rather a father who hasn't died yet. Then the impossible happened. He wasn't a friend, but he became a father. It wasn't a trip, but it became a return. And when it came time to say goodbye, he didn't say, "Goodbye, Grandpa," but kissed his cheek, as if to say, "I won't forget you, and I love you." This kiss wasn't between lovers, nor between lovers, nor in the rain, nor under the stars. It was between a child and a broken man, between the past and the future, between loneliness and belonging. Release year, 2004. Director, Sam Raimi. Writer, Alfred Joy, David Koepp, Michael Chapin. Peter Parker sacrifices his love for duty. He loves Mary Jane, but he's afraid of hurting her because of his life as Spider-Man. He suffers from poverty, job loss, and loneliness. In 2004, cinema didn't need a hero, it needed a human being. Peter Parker, not just Spider-Man, he was a shy young man, working at a newspaper, living a dream he couldn't fulfill. And Mary Jane, she's not just a girl next door. She's a woman searching for true love, not for heroes, not for masks. Then came the kiss. Not in a dark alley, not upside down, but on an ordinary street, under the New York rain, by the light of a golden street lamp. One kiss, in which her head wasn't lowered, in which the mask was lifted. A kiss that revealed, love isn't built on myth, but on honesty. This kiss didn't imitate the first one. It surpassed it, because it wasn't about performance, it was about identity. It wasn't about attraction, it was about boldness. Because true love isn't afraid to reveal itself. It isn't afraid to say, "I am this and I love you." Film. Release year, 2011. Director, Nya Jensen. Writer, Hugo Martin. The film tells the story of a mysterious man whose name is unknown. He works as a chauffeur in Los Angeles, but by night he is a thief, a bodyguard for organized crime. When he falls in love with his neighbor, Erin, and vows to protect her son, he enters a world from which there is no escape. In a world ruled by bullets, not words. Power wasn't in muscles, nor in weapons, but in 30 seconds of silence. He is not named. He does not like to talk, but he loves to drive not just the car, but destiny. She doesn't know him, but she feels safe with him. Then came the kiss. In an old elevator between two floors, under a dim red light. It wasn't a kiss of love, nor a kiss of lust. It was a declaration of protection. It was, "I'm here, don't be afraid. I don't speak, but I love." 30 seconds. Before he leaves, he kills the man in the apartment and disappears into the night. This kiss is like no other, because it wasn't just about love. It was about silence, violence, and loyalty. Because true love, it's not shouted. It's expressed with a kiss, and then with a shot. It wasn't a kiss on the lips. It was a kiss of the soul, of friendship, of belonging. And it is in every sense of the word, over and over again before anything else. Film, E.T., Alien, year 1982, director Steven Spielberg, writer Melissa Matheson, production Universal Picture. In 1982, the fear wasn't of aliens, it was of loneliness. Then came E.T., not a superhero, not a king, just a small creature, big eyes and a bigger heart. And he met Elliot, a child who couldn't be understood, who couldn't love, but who knew the meaning of friendship. Then the impossible happened. They had no language, but they had feelings. They weren't from the same planet, but they were from the same heart. And when it came time to say goodbye, he didn't say, "Goodbye, my friend," but touched his hand and whispered, "I love you." This touch, it wasn't a kiss on the lips, but a kiss of the soul. Because true friendship, it can't be measured by words nor by distance. Series, The Queen's Gambit. Release year, 2020. Production, Netflix. Director, Scott Frank. Writer, based on the novel by Walter Teavee, 1983. Starring Anya Taylor-Joy as Nina Beth Harmon, Thomas Brody Sangster as Richard Toffee. In an age where women are governed by rules they don't write, the battle wasn't just on the chessboard. It was in the heart. She was Nina, not just a chess player. She was a woman fighting alone, against the world, against addiction, against the idea that geniuses don't love. Then came the kiss. Not at a party, not in a moment of victory, but in a moment of farewell, before she returned to America, to her world, to her war. One kiss. It wasn't just a confession of love, but a confession of failure. A failure to stay. A failure to get close. A failure to say, "Don't go." Not at a party. This kiss didn't stop time, but it taught the world something. That love isn't measured by time, nor by proximity, but by the silence before a goodbye, because true love isn't shouted. It's spoken with a single touch, then left in the memory.
Di ujung waktu semakin jauh kau dan aku berbeda arah dalam aku tak dianggap tak terlihat aku di sini sendiri lagi tak dianggap tak
Movie, Black Swan. Release year, 2010. Director, Darren Aronofsky. Writer, Mark Heavies, John J. McKenna, Andre Nelson. Production, Fox Searchlight Pictures. The film tells the story of Nina, an idealistic ballerina who is chosen to play the role of Swan in a Swan River show. However, the role requires her to play two personalities: the white swan, purity, fear, innocence; the black swan, gravity, power, ferocity. But Nina doesn't know how to be black, so she enters into a deep psychological struggle, begins to hallucinate, and blurs the lines between reality and fantasy. In a world where perfection is demanded, it's not just dance that's performed with blood. It's identity. She's Nina, a perfect ballerina, her movements precise, but she doesn't know who she is. He is David, the director, the motivator, the mirror that reflects her repressed desire. Then came the kiss. Not a kiss of love, but a kiss of obsession. A kiss between a woman and herself, between purity and ferocity, between the white swan and the black swan. One kiss. It didn't stop time. It unleashed the beast. Because true love, it's not built on beauty alone. It's built on acceptance, on saying, "This is me, even if it scares me." That kiss didn't just change Nina's life. It taught the world, don't be afraid of your dark self. It could be your strength. Notting Hill. Release year, 1999. Director, Roger Mitchell. Writer, Richard Carradine. Supervised by Stephen Friars. Production, Universal Pictures Working Title Films. Starring, Hughes Grant as William Thackeray, the ordinary man. Julia Roberts as Anna Scott, the international star. It tells the story of William, a humble London bookshop owner, who is surprised by the visit of Anna Scott, the international cinema legend, who enters his shop and asks for a book. From that moment, an unexpected love blossoms between two worlds that never meet. One lives in the limelight, the other in the shadows. In a world ruled by fame, power wasn't in money, nor in brightness. It was in the audacity to love. He was sublime. He wasn't a star. He wasn't rich. He was an ordinary man, loving from afar, silently. She's Jolie. She's not just an actress. She's a legend, living in a world of lights, cameras, and illusion. Then came the kiss. Not at a party, not on the red carpet, but in a simple donut shop, amid ordinary workers with cheap coffee. One kiss. It didn't imitate any others, because it wasn't about attraction. It was about honesty. Because true love, it doesn't ask about fame. It doesn't care about differences. It loves who it is, not who people think it is. Film, The Shape of Water, release year 2017. Director, Guillermo del Toro. Writer, Guillermo del Toro. Vanessa Torres. Production, Fox Searchlight Pictures. Starring Sally Hawkins as Eliza, Doug Jones as the sea creature, Richard Jenkins, Michael Shannon. The film tells the story of Eliza, a deaf woman who works as a cleaner in a secret laboratory during the Cold War. She discovers a mysterious sea creature treated as a scientific experiment and forms an unprecedented relationship with it. It relies not on words, but on touch, dance, and music. When she decides to free it from the hands of scientists and the military, the story becomes one of tragedy, love, and rebellion against discrimination. In a world where differences are categorized, it wasn't language that separated us. It was touch. She is Eliza. She doesn't speak. She doesn't hear, but she loves. Silently, with movement, with a fearless heart. He is a water creature, not a monster, not an experiment, but a being from another world, loving as a human being loves. Then came the kiss, not in the air, but underwater. It wasn't a kiss of lips, but a kiss of the soul. A kiss between someone who had lost his voice and someone who had lost his world. One kiss. It broke all the rules. It didn't ask about shape or origin or language, because true love is not built on shape. It is built on touch, sight, and silence. This kiss didn't just change Eliza's life. It taught the world. Love doesn't ask who you are, only how you feel. It wasn't just a romantic moment. It was a cultural and philosophical event in the history of cinema. For the first time in cinema, a kiss was filmed between two non-human beings, without words or conventional facial expressions. Yet it is considered one of the most profound emotional moments in film. The film, despite being animated, addressed fundamental issues: consumerism, the environment, isolation, and existence. The kiss here is not physical but symbolic. A moment of recognition, connection, and the continuation of life. It is built on touch, sight, and silence. This kiss didn't just change Eliza's life, it taught the world. Love doesn't ask who you are, only how you feel. In the year 2805, humans no longer walked the earth. No one looked at the stars, but somewhere among the rubble and dust, there was a small robot, still working, still waiting, still feeling. His name is Wall-E, the last cleaning robot on a dead planet, working alone for 700 years. But he didn't become a machine. He has curiosity, he has fear, he has a dream. Then, she came, like a spark in the darkness, like an answer left unanswered. Her name, Eve, an exploration robot. Her mission, to search for plant life. But she didn't know that her true mission was to bring life back to the heart of a tiny robot. Days passed. Wall-E takes care of her, protects her from the rain, holds her hand, dances with her in space. He doesn't understand her language, but he understands her gaze, because he loves her. The first kiss between two robots in the history of cinema. It wasn't a kiss of blood and red. It was a kiss of an electric current, an operating system, and a heart that cannot be measured in units. Because love is not limited to humans. It is for every being, waits, fears, and loves. Perhaps one day this little robot's name will be forgotten, but it will never be forgotten that love, even in the harshest of circumstances, even in a lifeless world, can begin with a look, with a touch, with a kiss of metal. The Lawrence and Sheriff Ali scene in Lawrence of Arabia, 1962, directed by David Lean, is considered one of the most enigmatic moments in film history. There was no actual kiss, but the emotional tension, physical closeness, and the touch on the face made the audience feel that something forbidden and profound had occurred. In the 1960s, depicting a kiss between two men was unthinkable. Love had to be conveyed through glances, silence, and subtle touches. The scene wasn't labeled romantic, but it became a touchstone in queer cinema, an example of unspoken love. In 1917, in the heart of the Arabian desert, where there was no water, no shade, no name, a strange man arrived, dressed as a Bedouin with eyes that seemed to burn. His name, T.E. Lawrence. His mission, to liberate the nation. But he didn't know that the desert would ask him another question. Who are you, really? Then Sharif Ali appeared, not just a tribal leader, but a mirror. A man who understood the desert, not as a place, but as a spirit. And from the very first moment, there was a connection between them. It couldn't be explained by politics. It couldn't be measured by achievements. It was simply felt in silence. That night, they didn't talk about war. They didn't plan an attack. They talked about meaning, about loneliness, about a man lost in the desert, and finding himself reflected in the eyes of another man. It wasn't a kiss of the lips. It wasn't like the kind we're used to, but when Lawrence's face drew close to Sharif Ali's, when his hands trembled, when he closed his eyes as if surrendering, it was a kiss, a desert kiss, an incomplete kiss, but one that shook the world. In 1962, this scene sparked enormous controversy. Was it a kiss of love, or a moment of profound friendship, or an expression of repressed identity? The film offered no answer. It left the question open to the desert and to time to decide. Judas's kiss to Christ is considered the first recorded kiss in history with profound symbolic meaning. It wasn't a kiss of love, but a sign of identification. As Judas said, "The one I kiss is the one." The Italian artist Giotto di Bondone depicted this scene in 1305 in the Scrovegni Chapel in Padua, in a painting titled The Kiss of Judas, which critics consider the first truly dramatic scene in Renaissance art. The painting reveals a striking contrast. A kiss on the cheek, but the eyes betray the true nature of the act. Judas looks directly at Christ as if to say, "I know what I am doing, In cinema, this moment has been recreated in films like The Passion of the Christ, 2004, where the kiss was made more realistic and visually impactful. Philosophically, questions arise. Was Judas a traitor? Or was he an instrument in the plan of redemption? Some apocryphal texts, such as the Gospel of Judas, portray him as the necessary mediator. This kiss, therefore, is not merely a religious moment, but a cultural event that has shaped our understanding of betrayal, sacrifice, and love that leads to suffering. On a night that would never be forgotten, while the stars were silent and the wind held its breath, a man entered the garden, not with a sword, but with a kiss. He was a disciple. He was a friend. He was one of them. But in his heart he carried something that no one dared to think about: to deliver the light to the darkness. One kiss. It wasn't a kiss of love, but it was the most powerful kiss in history, because it didn't say "I love you," but rather, "You are forgiven." With that kiss, the cross began, redemption began, and time was broken. From that day on, a kiss was no longer just an expression of love. It became a symbol of loyalty and of betrayal, of sanctity and of blood. A single kiss changed the fate of an empire. It birthed a religion and stirred hearts for 2,000 years. Was it betrayal or part of a larger plan? History has not provided an answer. This Disney film was revolutionary in the world of animated movies. It broke the golden rule. A prince's kiss revives the sleeping princess. It showed that true love isn't necessarily romantic. It can be a family bond, sacrifice, and redemption. The film won an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, and it was even used in schools as a study of family relationships, self-acceptance, and emotional courage. This moment changed the definition of true love in popular culture. Anna became the first Disney heroine to save herself not with a kiss from a man, but with her sister's love. This kiss didn't just melt the ice, it melted centuries of stories that taught girls that salvation comes from a man. Today, this moment is taught as the revolutionary kiss, the sisterly kiss that saved the world. In a kingdom beneath the snow, the cold wasn't from outside, it was from within. A frozen heart that could not melt with water, only with love. Anna wasn't looking for a prince to save her. She wasn't waiting for a kiss from a prince. She was looking for her sister. And she knew, deep down, that true love doesn't come from a random kiss. It comes from a heart that has shared every moment with you. The Duke said, "Haha, a kiss from a lover will revive her." But nature spoke more truthfully. Nothing can save her, except a truly loving act. Anna raises her head. She sees Elsa. A small smile appears on her lips. She whispers, "Elsa." She didn't know what to do. She didn't possess any magic to save them, but she had something even greater, a childhood memory, a laugh shared in a closed room, a game on the ice in the palace, and a sister whose love never wavered, even during the years of separation. It wasn't a love kiss from a prince. It wasn't a kiss from a man she met yesterday. It was a kiss from a sister, from a woman who stood against fear to protect one heart. This isn't just a kiss. This is sacrifice. This is redemption. This is true love. From that day on, the world stopped believing that true love comes from a random kiss. And it began to learn that true love is a sister's kiss in the face of death that brings life back. The kiss between Sam and Molly in the 1990 film Ghost, directed by Jerry Zucker, is considered one of the most iconic kisses in romantic film history. The film blended horror, mystery, and supernatural romance, but its core message was simple: love transcends death. The famous pottery wheel scene has become a cultural icon, appearing in television shows, cartoons, and even commercials. Unchained Melody returned to the top of the charts after the film's release and became forever linked to this moment. The kiss in Ghost represents spiritual redemption. When the soul is allowed to say goodbye, it can move on to the afterlife. This isn't just an ordinary romantic kiss. It's a kiss that proves that the soul isn't measured by physical touch, but by feeling. In a small room in New York, there was a couple. They needed no words. Every touch, every glance, every turn of the potter's wheel was a note in a long symphony of love. But one night, everything shattered. Sam was killed, but he didn't leave. He remained, like a shadow, like a memory, like a ghost, unable to touch the one he loved. He saw her every day. He heard her cry. He watched her try to forget. But he couldn't bring himself to say, "I'm here." Until that day, when fate allowed him to touch her for the last time. She couldn't see him, but she felt him, like a warm breeze, like a hand she was used to resting in. Then, she turned around and began to speak as if he were there. He told her everything, about love, about fear, about death, and about how he couldn't stay. It was a kiss, not born of the body, but of the soul, of memories, of a promise left unfulfilled. But it was real, because true love doesn't need a body, it only needs presence. After that kiss, he ascended. He left this earth, but he never left love. Because one kiss, when it comes from the heart to the soul, never ends.